Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 7th of June to the 14th of June. This is the last digest of Season 2 of sorts. I'm taking a hiatus all through this summer because I work at a summer camp, and I won't be able to do digest while I do that at the same time. But you should be able to find a playlist in the description. Should be like the top link, maybe. Hopefully, I remember. Of a playlist of other AniTube Digest videos that are going to be updated from Core. He's kind of organizing a couple of people doing digest in my stead, which is nice, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to watching those digests from people. And maybe do a digest at the end or so. I don't know. We'll see. Anybody can make their own, this sort of thing. This is not like, you don't have to ask. It would be nice if you asked my permission, right? It's kind of the courteous thing to do, but don't feel like, it's just my thing or something like that. Feel free to reach out to Core too, and he can add you to that. And, we all talk about anime YouTube videos together, which is what I want. It's kind of like, one of the reasons I did digest was so that these videos aren't just like existing in the ether and none of us watch them. Like all of us like who make videos like this, we all just kind of keep to ourselves and make our own videos, and we don't want to. I don't know. It's either a mix of being influenced by other creators or just out of feeling the need to. And that's the reason I did it was because I was feeling the exact same way, and yeah. So I got a good decent lineup this time, but hope you enjoy it. Okay, the last one does have a video that I thought was not good, and I'm kind of picking a similar target. I don't really like what they make necessarily, and I could just be like, yeah, of course, so then why talk about it if you're not gonna like it? But it's like, I think maybe there's something interesting about it. Maybe they'll turn me around or something. That's always why I kind of go back to some of these channels and stuff that end up being frequent targets. I'm like, no, it was exactly what I would. Oh well. But this is from Something Witty Entertainment. My Hero Academia Abridged Episode 2. I didn't end up looking. The first thing that came to my mind was like, is it really an abridged if it's 30 minutes? But for what there. So like TFS did kind of make the precedent that they're about this length, and I looked at because I'm like, there's no way Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, which is the fraud, like the Astro Boy of this genre, there's no way his videos are this long, and the latest ones are very long, but like I had to watch one of his again just to be like, what was it about these that are funny, and like what's not working here? And it's just not funny. it's just not like trying to make jokes every few seconds. It doesn't feel like that. And also a lot of the jokes seem to be in the delivery and not necessarily in the writing. And it's you can do that if they have like a silly voice, but it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like it's someone's putting on a stupid accent or something. There's one moment in this where like they make the laser naval guy French, and it's like, okay, all right, but then you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and like all the characters, and most of them are voiced by Little Karibo. They all have the distinctiveness to them, or if there's no particular voice to them, then they are at least saying something, kind of cracking a joke and being really funny and everything, and not like in a funny way like that's funny for if you're a fan of the anime, just like funny in general, but like it's just like absurdist humor. It's like breaking the fourth wall humor. It's pop culture humor. It's other stuff that's just like not trying to like. It's Team 4-Star. What this is, what Something Witty's trying to do here, which is it feels like it's trying to be a replacement of the series. It really does. It doesn't feel like a parody. It doesn't feel like it's poking fun at anything. Maybe of like, there's a moment where like Deku punches the robot and his hand breaks or whatever, and they add like a little floppy like kind of sound, and yeah, I guess that's funny, but it's just sort of like it doesn't try to like break any eggs. It doesn't feel like it's trying to overstep or maybe make Hero Academia fans feel upset or something. They're not pushing anything here, in my opinion. They're just kind of like, yep, that's funny. Like they ruin they don't ruin, I guess. It's more like there's moments in Hero Academia that are like memey and kind of funny, with like Deku tripping on himself and almost falling flat on his face before Uraraka catches him, or the part where like All Might's like, oh my goodness, you know. Neither of those are they try to make them just exist. Like I think they realize that they can't make anything that funnier. Like they can't boost up that or subvert people's expectations. They just replay the same fucking joke. They don't replicate it, thankfully, but like they play at the same beat, and it's not transformative in my opinion. It's just not. It just is, you know, and it's just. I'm not a big fan of Hero Academia, so like, it was just re-experiencing. I think they do 2 episodes here. For reference, one of my favorite abridged things was Team 4 Star's Attack on Titan, which was 30 minutes, and they had to bridge 5 episodes. And thank God, because the first 5 episodes, you know, it's kind of slow. Attack on Titan is fairly slow in the first couple of episodes, and maybe probably arguably the first entire season is kind of slow. That's just my personal thing. But like, that's just that they were moving in that one, and there's so many quotables in that one, and it's just like there's nothing here. You know, one thing I noticed is also there's not a lot of creativity in there's effort in the visuals. Don't get me wrong, they are lip flapping everything similar to what Team 4 Star would do, and there's some edits here and there, but there doesn't seem to be anything super transformative, and there's a couple of like very obvious shortcut economic things that they're doing. There's several moments where they just let the voice actors go off, and it's one shot, it's one still, and they find whatever reason, it's an economic choice, right? And my favorite director is Osamu Dezaki. I love economic choices when it's like, oh, that's a clever way to get something impactful. But it just felt like this didn't feel impactful as it just felt like cheap, I guess. It just felt kind of like not in a good, impactful way, where you're saving your moments for something else. Like there was no balance in that, right? With Dezaki, he's doing these economic choices so that he can put his attention in other places. You know, but it was just, there's so many moments where like there's a scene where Deku's just staring at something at the TV, and they're just going off about this random non sequitur thing, and like the non sequitur thing, okay, cool, there's something different that's not actually trying to tell this or change or mess up the story in it, that's actually trying to be additive, but it's just this rant that just kind of sounds like the voice actors are ad-libbing. You know, a lot of this felt like the voice actors are just having fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can have that, right? But I think it just was way too transparent in this, and it kind of got away from them. Where it just felt very indulgent, you know, and they're just, like the screaming and the over the top reactions and certain moments like that just felt very indulgent. And some people find it obviously people find it funny. These guys are successful, right? And it's like, you can't knock it. I'm just one guy. Don't get so upset if you happen to see this. You know, you're clearly successful. You're doing a great job with what you're doing. And clearly there's no failure here in that way. But like, I couldn't get into it. I just found it really indulgent, and voice actors can have fun with the material and find ways to improv or ad-lib and things and work things in the booth and stuff. And I'm sure that happens with every other abridged, right? But it doesn't feel as transparent as this did in those particular moments where like the visuals have nothing to do. They just have the one shot. There's this scene of like, which is also kind of creative, of, he's like, how do you, I don't know how they kind of get into this, but it's All Might explaining to Deku that his body's going to explode if he doesn't train it up before he gives him the power. And he's like, I guess he's sort of like, how do you know that? And this is like a flashback to All Might's face to the last time he gives this to somebody, and it's like, oh boy, and it's just the voiceover. You just hear voices because it's in his head or whatever, because there's no creativity in terms of they're not going to put any effort into visualizing this for you. And maybe there's like, oh no, but it's up to the imagination. You can make anything you want, but at the end of the day, you really are just like, yeah, it's just the one face, and you're leaning too much on the voice actors here to make up this imaginary thing. A lot of the creativity in abridging is taking the anime and the visuals here and reinterpreting them and putting them in a different context, in a different scene sort of thing, and to make it feel kind of natural and in place in a way. I don't know. I feel like they were very I didn't really watch SAO abridged, but like I'm under the assumption a lot of people like them, and they kind of made a name for themselves because it was super transformative. They like recharacterized Kirito and all this other blah blah blah, and this is all it says. I'm really not in it. I'm not really cared that much about SAO. Like, wow, I want to see it be done well. No, I don't really care to. So I'm not really interested in it personally to watch all of that. Plus, it's if there's like 16 episodes, if everyone's this long, it's like that's a, I guess it's like, oh, that's an investment. But here I am like watching Naruto this year. Whatever. I don't know. I just can't. It wasn't funny. I don't want to just make a 30-second not going to be like, it wasn't funny, next one kind of deal. I don't know. Just think there's certain things to talk about, I thought. Yeah, I don't know. And it was like, am I just not in the right mood? I just didn't think it was funny. And so I did go to a random episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and he's hilarious. It's so like, maybe I'm just like in that kind of wavelength with Little Karibo or whatever, and I just like his humor, or I grew up on that humor. Like, I think I was, I remember watching clips of that in high school, and so like, yeah, I'm used to that, so maybe that's just my type of humor type of thing, and this is just a different humor. This does feel there's something about it. I can't tell you what it is, but there's something about this attitude, that the type of humor that this Something Witty has, that feels very Western anime fan convention. A lot of people have this it feels very homogenous. I cannot begin to tell you what exactly that means. Give an example. It is very conspiratorial tin hat for me, but there's something about the humor here that just feels like convention humor, like you'd see at a con or like a cosplay panel or something. It's like watching 2001 An Anime Odyssey and like their humor, and like there's like a similar wavelength that I'm very disassociated with. I can't tell you what that is, and it radiates out of this one. And so that, on top of not really being that, it was just like watching the first, like episode 3 and 4 of Hero Academia again. I was just there like, God, I couldn't get into it. Yeah, last not good for the year, for this season, I guess. But hope you took something out of that, I guess. Yeah, not good. Alrighty, now for some videos I thought were decent and pretty good. And this first one, okay, sure, it was decent. I had my problems with it, and like, but respect to the Masked Man for putting out a nearly hour of Kentaro Miura Berserk documentary. What really sold this for me was his use of quotes from Miura. I don't know why I certainly didn't in either of my Berserk videos, but I don't see it a lot in other people's videos either, where he's using this interview or several interviews and quoting him a lot. And I was like, great. And like every time he did that, it was additive, and it was like, good, this is valuable additive. This is interesting to me. Hearing from Miura and not so much Masked Man or the people that he kind of features. He has one person guest voice for Black Swordsman. I think it was for like, I think it was someone from the motion comic. But it was, I thought that would have been kind of cool if he had guest voice for every arc. The way this is laid out is, he does Kentaro Miura was born, blah, 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 a little backstory, tiny thing. doesn't really talk about any of his other works, just the Berserk prototype, and then he just goes arc by arc, kind of just describing it. I think he just, I think he does a better job with Golden Age, kind of contextualizing how important and awesome it is in that way. It did feel a little more reviewy and holistic. But right when he gets to Eclipse and he's like, I feel the need, he says, I feel the need to describe the Eclipse very beat by beat because it's so impactful. And I'm like, sure, go ahead. I was expecting this for the most of the video anyway. And that's pretty much what he does the rest of the video for me. He just kind of beat for beat, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this other thing happens, and this happens. It just felt very plot summary kind of deal. Not really like as additive as I think it could have been. I feel like he may be focusing more on Miura in terms of his mentality. And again, the quotes were the right direction for that. I just wish there was more of that. And it also just didn't have to be an hour. You know, if you kind of focused on just Miura's thought process of his navigating of the story and constructing it, and focusing on Kentaro Miura, which is the name of your video, Kentaro Miura, a Berserk documentary. If you focus on that, you know, he barely talks about the art. He kind of mentions it like once at the beginning of how, wow, it's, you know, he grew up meant to be an artist. And then at like by Fantasia it gets super crazy and wow, he's evolved as an artist kind of thing. Very rarely talks about him as an artist in that rest of the video, for me at least not enough to be like, he's mostly praising him for his storytelling and his thing as a manga, which is obviously awesome and impressive and great, worth talking about, but like, it's right there. The art's right there, you know what I mean? And it's definitely fair that he doesn't talk about any of the adaptations or any of the games, even though he does use some footage of them here and there. Mostly he's just talking about the manga, which is completely understandable. It's Miura we're talking about, but I just don't think it needed to be an hour. I think he just wanted to make it this meaty Berserk video. I get that the feeling, you know. And then I'm making an hour-long video right now, so I'm not one to judge or whatever. Like, this should be a short, you know. I do kind of suspect that my video right now is an hour-long video for a 5 or 10 minute point. Like, I very well could just make my little short piece and put it out there, but with the kind of reach that I want it to have and the amount of things that I want to say about, I'm sorry to make this about my video, sorry. With the amount of things that I want to say regarding this subject I'm talking about, I just see it as my opportunity to talk about it. So it's really just, it's more of my excuse to talk about these things as much as it is trying to get this particular message across. So it is a little overly bloated, but I just hope people enjoy it. Anyway, that's me justifying my length, but people are perfectly free to disagree with it. And I get that there's a justification here where each plot beat's really important and showing is like, wow, this is really really well thought out and blah blah blah. Although it really feels like towards the end, it's like, yeah, you really rapid fire through the chapters and gloss over a lot of stuff right about Conviction arc. Like a little bit, I liked the analysis of Conviction and justifying how it's pretty much as good as Golden Age in Mass Man's view, which is an interesting perspective, and I like that. But right when I get to like Millennium Falcon, it felt like it was a speed run. It just kind of felt like barely talked about a lot of stuff because so much and he's just like, a lot of stuff happens, and like, yeah. And so it felt very lopsided, right? Where you put in so much detail in these other arcs, and then these arcs, because there's so much detail, it would get way too crazy and big, and you do need to put the video out at some point and move on to other things, right? I get that. Yeah, I think that particular balance, I think he kind of lost the plot and kind of got away from him towards the end. And almost doesn't talk about Fantasia at all. And I think it's because he interprets it as like it didn't finish. Like that's around the time where it's kind of incomplete, and he's able to talk about it, but he kind of uses it as a way to kind of ease off and wrap up, basically. Doesn't do any speculating. I really appreciate that. About whether it's going to continue, blah blah blah. And I think he handled the end of that very well with, you know, thanking Miura and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like very flashy Berserk documentary, 50-minute, you know, and big, and it's a significant moment, and I think the results are decent. Um, it's not as additive to me as a Berserk fan personally, where it's like, yeah, but there's all like, get a different angle, like do something different with because everyone could. I feel like a lot of people could have made this kind of video, or maybe have made this kind of video, and yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel as distinctive in that way. Um, but yeah, no, and then production wise also it's pretty good. I like the intros to each arc was very cinematic and very lush, and then the rest of it is very economic manga panels, as it be, but standard kind of stuff. But yeah, pretty good. I was hesitant on watching it personally. I'm just like, what are you gonna say? It's gonna be a plot summary, and it was. But again, the mirror quotes really helped it. I usually don't talk about like announcements as much as like I want to talk about like the first entry, but since it's the last digest that I'm doing, I won't be able to. But just to let everyone here know, CiderThoughts is doing a new video essay series starting in late July, defining human, and it's an analysis series. I assume talking about AI or just like what it means to be human. And the series he's focusing on are plastic memories, wandering witch, like that I forget that I didn't see it, but it was like the seasonal had happened like a season or two ago, like Melania or something. Let me just double check. Was it that one? Yeah, Majino Tabi. He's using that one. Um, Vivi, which isn't even done yet, and Near Automata. And like Near Automata, that's an interesting, cool choice, and it's like surprising. Oh, it's a video game and 3 anime type of thing. Um, but it's like it was interesting. I'm not gonna say it's a port. Like, oh, why would you? Whatever, like I haven't seen the video essay or what the actual focus is on. But it just is interesting that he's gonna, taking this subject of defining human and what it means to be human type of thing, but in the context of robots with plastic memories and Vivi. Plastic memories and Vivi makes sense. And then Wandering Witch, I'm like, oh, that's a little left field. Okay. And maybe there's a particular episode, I haven't seen the show. Maybe there's a particular episode that really focuses on it that he wants to talk about, and that's interesting. But it's just interesting. Is like, well, Ghost in the Shell is right there. But I get maybe a lot of people have talked about Ghost in the Shell, or maybe he just hasn't seen Ghost in the Shell yet or something. But it's just kind of noticeably absent to me. And I'm just like, huh, okay. Now, granted, a lot of people have done Ghost in the Shell. Maybe it's just an obvious pick. Maybe it's just like, oh, everyone's talked about it. I want to try to do something different. And that's cool too. But it's just kind of a weird, interesting absence, And there's also Metropolis, and I don't know. There's a couple, but Metropolis is also kind of overanalyzed by academia. So, I don't know. Yeah, no, but this is interesting, and the trailer itself is nicely edited. I like the aesthetic of the code type of thing, the way that text is established and stuff. Seems exciting. Looking forward to it. And best of luck with it. That'll be fun. Sword from Flip Down Yonder is unhuxtable. With the you look at this thumb and this title, like, wait, what is this video? And it's about a less than 5 minute video about Katanagatari of all things, and analyzing a particular episode or a scene and kind of asking the question of like, oh, this whole jobber thing. I haven't seen the show, but it's like, how is it that an entire episode is spent on these 3 characters that we know are not going to win against this other guy, against this other character? How come that happens? And it's because it's a lot of talking and there's a lot of cliche, and it's a lot of like a lot of interesting observations and casual stuff, and it's in the presentation that I think I've talked about earlier with Zen stuff, and it's just really cool. And I commented, I'm like, I need to make videos like these. They're just super minimalist. Don't have to show a bunch of footage every time, and don't have to break your back over it and everything. If you just have like a point to throw out there, it's also similar to like Beatrix, where it's a lot like just a blog and like a lately I've been thinking this and I've noticed this thing about, and it's a very casual and low stakes observation, and just making a video out of that, just to get that out there and to put it onto paper, so to speak. Um, it's just really nice and easygoing, I guess. Um, and yeah, the feels great. He's very casual, and I feel like I've talked about his stuff, in a similar fashion. So I'm sorry if I'm very redundant or predictable with talking about Zen stuff here. But it's like not like he's reinventing the wheel with these sorts of things, I guess. At the same time, anyway, no, I just really enjoy this stuff, and this is the sort of stuff I'm looking at as like that's what I want to make, like after the summer. I'm like, I can't just like, to me I'm really weird like that, where I want to start patterns or I don't know, I'm not a very spontaneous person. I like to have stuff planned, or just like I'm gonna do this and have it regimented type of thing. So like I've wanted to make videos like this. I've said this for months now, and yet I haven't done it, and it's only because I'm like, well, I can't just start making these short videos and then just not make anything for the summer or whatever. So that's been my excuse. But yeah, no, I've enjoyed these videos, and I just like it's just like it also just the absolute lack of a fuck about title and thumb, where it's like you don't even know what this video's about. Or I guess it is evocative in a way where you're like, what is that, um it's sure as shit not going to do anything in the algorithm per se, but yeah, I mean, but like that, there's something interesting about. I don't know if I'll adopt that in particular, but it's something I do admire very much. Yeah. Lost Pause, he seems to do a lot of reaction stuff lately, or I don't follow his stuff very very closely. But this is a similar kind of what I expect from him. He's just reacting to a lot and riffing off of something, just kind of reaction type of stuff. But hilariously bad anime dubs you wouldn't believe exist. And I was going into this being like, I hope he doesn't shit on him in the same way like all dubs suck kind of deal. But he's like, there's a lot of bad dubs out there, and that's fine. And I think I liked also that he didn't just focus on English ones, but very early on he chose a Portuguese dub. And they're just like really funny, over the top reactions and yells, and the way they do it, in that particular dub is very out of place and funny. I think there's not a lot of, it's not like disrespect, which is what I really, it's not like you're mocking and you're just kind of like reacting, and it's just funny in a way, and I was laughing with him, and I think it's an enjoyable video. I also like the, it was a combination of hilarious dub stuff that like I had never seen before and it was new to me as well, but also ones that like I am very acutely aware of. Like the very first clip is the Speed Racer one that like he's like, I gotta rewatch that again, and I'm the same exact way. I'm like, so there's like a similar wavelength here, and there's a fucking moment where he reacts to Cypher their video, which is funny because it's not a dub. It's the original language. It was never it was only ever made in English, and that's why in the video there are Japanese subtitles, because it was made for a Japanese audience, but it's English. And they dubbed it specifically in English. So that's the original Japanese audio. Technically, it's just in English. And Jay Cabrera, who is the voice actor who is in that scene and is in voicing the main character and doing most of the voice acting in that anime. He goes on to do. He was the narrator in Tonegawa, and he like lives in Japan. I think, at least I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can't imagine he wouldn't. But he is like, yeah. He is totally like fully fluent, I guess, and it's the same guy. But anyway, but that was so funny. He like reacted to the exact scene I love. When reacting to the dub of Cypher the video is the last scene where it's like, yeah, Yeah, and it was just like surreal. I have to tell you, it's kind of surreal if like someone as kind of like high profile as Lost Paws appreciating a scene like that in the way that I appreciate it, where he's just like, yeah, he's like, oftentimes he's like repeating the dub that, you know, and that's what I do as well. It's very natural, and I don't know, it's a kindred almost of just like, yes, you know. Um, but like I really appreciated there wasn't as much disrespect or just or I was realizing it's like it's all about the delivery. It's nothing to do with the script or the choice of words and or the or just kind of like it's so bad, you know, like when it's really when they are clearly trying their best, you know. I don't know. It wasn't anything like that. It didn't feel kind of icky in that way for me personally, as someone who is about to be defending dubs kind of a lot in this video. I keep teasing here, but yeah. If you're wondering, like, wait, how is he working and putting out a video, but he's not gonna be busy? He's gonna be too busy to do digest. It's because I'm having a certain someone finish editing the video for me, and or at least polishing it in a way that I want them to, because I want to see what they would do with it, because it's beyond my particular skill set, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, so like it's in the middle of still being edited at the moment. Anyway, yeah, no, I really liked this video. It was just a fun time, and yeah, it was fun. Oh, kind of an interesting thumbnail, to be honest with you, from Anime Back When. 3 anime I know you have not heard of. You know, I'm very happy how active he's being. It sounds like he's having a lot of fun. And also you just discovered a digest, so I appreciate. Yeah, good to see you. If you happen to see this as well, I don't know. But yeah, I really liked this video, especially because it does live up to its promise. 2 of the 3 I had not heard of at all. At least I'm pretty sure I hadn't, because they may have sounded like vaguely familiar. The other one that I do remember hearing is Saber Marionette J. I haven't heard anything about it, and of course I haven't seen any of the 3 of them, of course. But yeah, like 2 of them I didn't have on my plan to watch at all, and it was like those look interesting, so I put on my plan to watch. And so like it was a very additive, valuable video in that way. And it's like, oh yeah, I could do that a lot, and I'm like, yeah, go on. I think this definitely proves it, that you're not just talking out your ass. With the way some people do this, it's like, have you heard of Rurouni Kenshin? It's like, yeah. I don't know. There's certain titles where it's like, yes, of course. But there are plenty of anime that you could do this for. And I think this was a good test study, even if where like there might be some that you hadn't. The fact that like that you will, if people had at least heard of them, they probably either hadn't seen them, or at the very least are probably very, very little talked about on YouTube. There is plenty of anime that haven't been covered compared to how many that have been covered dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times, right? So I thought it was a really additive, interesting video, and I thought he has, Anime Back When. I think you're improving in your delivery and tightening things up and focusing on certain things. And the way you describe these anime, I think is really fun and valuable. It doesn't feel generic. It doesn't feel like it's a slice of life made in blah blah blah, made in 2000 blah, and da 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 da. It doesn't feel plot synopsis. Like I could just get this on Mal. It does feel like someone who's recommending this to you in a way. So I think you're getting much better at it. And I like the craft too, with like the visuals and stuff. There's something kind of clashing about it to me that was noticeable, was the use of kind of like an overlay that felt like on old footage and like dirts and scratches and stuff, but then you're using footage that like seems really newish or just seems really polished or HD kind of deal. At least for the space defense one, the family defense one, like it's an older anime, yeah, but it's clearly gotten kind of a remaster, or like at least it's not like trapped in standard definition or something. It looked good. So like adding the things on top just kind of felt like, I felt like you need to like either have that for the whole video or just, I don't know. There's something about it that was I was like, okay, that's a choice. All right. And there's something, I think there's something distinctive. It's better than nothing, I guess. There's just like there's something to it, I guess. I don't know. That was just something I noticed where it's like the newness of the footage, I think, kind of clashes with the aesthetic you were trying to show off in that way, at least in that particular instance. But you can disagree with me if you want. Anyway, I did enjoy that video. It was a good time. Sentai Filmworks had a video. What's the podcast? Episode 2 interview with Made in Abyss translator Jake Young, or yeah, Young, I think. And it was a relatively shorter one, but like, and it was pretty friendly and stuff. I'd say the big thing for me is that like the main host didn't have the best mic. I don't know what they're using, but it's something they should be interested in investing in if they want to like continue making this as an actual podcast and they interview various figures of the industry with the kind of reach that they have. I think is great and valuable. I don't know if Funimation has a kind of podcast like this, or Crunchyroll or anything. So it's like this is really great. And like kind of the focus of Made in Abyss and stuff. But like the main host did not have the best mic quality, and she had a co-host that she had to continually egg on to say something. And it's like, do you have something to add? Do you want to, and trying to include him. And I don't know if that was a matter of him not stepping up or her over kind of being overbearing or something. I don't know what it was. But the dynamic wasn't the soundest, I think. I think maybe they're just, it just comes with practice. I know, my roommates have done a podcast for 4 years now, and they didn't start this good. Like you practice with taking turns and the amount of talking and flubbing and whatever. And I didn't think it was completely unpolished, this particular interview. I thought it was good overall, but it does seem as though they're fairly new to this. But it's good that they're I'm just happy it exists. It's really cool. And then Jake Yoon, but like, the value here really was hearing his insight about Made in Abyss and his time translating it and how he got into translating, which was really interesting. His observations and various things. I just think that like, yeah, I think it's just the newness of the podcast where like they kind of were asking a lot of surface level questions and kind of gimmicky kind of questions. Like, if you had to describe the character in one word, what would it be? Or for each of the three main characters type of thing. And Jake played along really well, and I thought they were valuable, insightful answers. And overall, I really liked the engagementness of the kind of the main host, which was like, wow, that's really interesting. Oh, I never knew that, and things like that. And that was, additive and nice. I just think it is kind of rough around the edges, but still very valuable and interesting. So check that out. It's kind of cool. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, let's get to the videos I thought were the best videos of the week. This is a good digest. We've got like 40 minutes and then get to bed. Let's go. Okay, so Terumi Nishi, who is a really active anime industry person, character designer for Penguin Drum, character designer for Part 4, for JoJo Part 4, one of the chief animation directors on Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh my gosh, yeah. She is super active. She's been in the industry for about 23 years, and you might recognize her for speaking out against the anime industry for certain conditions or something. Or just like David Pro not getting paid or something. I don't want to spread any misinformation, but like I recognize her icon image if you happen to check this channel out. So she started a channel and it's all in Japanese, but it is translated into English on the screen. It's not like YouTube subtitles. It's like on the screen. And it's pretty much just audio. And she has a guest on who, I want to see what her name is. Naska? N-A-Ska. I'm trying to find what the... Yeah, Naska-san. She's a costume designer. They've worked together and everything. But it's the two of them kind of having a little banter and her talking why she wanted to start a YouTube channel and talking about the misconceptions of the anime industry and just a way to get herself out there. Because it's like just a blog or a Twitter kind of gets you only so far. I would say that like one kind of disadvantage is that, you know, she has everything very privated. Likes and dislikes are off. Comments are off. You don't see how many subs she has, but like the views wise, it's not that many. But obviously because she just started this week. Um, Actually, there's also a Spanish speaking one, which is great. That just uploaded like today, which is awesome. But you know, I think there's a little bit of drawback to that. I don't know if YouTube is going to push that as actively as it could potentially. But this is just more valuable and engaging content that you're seeing on YouTube from real people in the industry, such as Naoki Urasawa, starting his own channel very recently. But this is really, really exciting. She doesn't like spill any major tea or anything like that in this one. Although she does bring up one really interesting point. I think that she was saying that she started with I don't know if she started with Penguin Drum necessarily, but she's talking about this story about Ikuhara hiring from Twitter for Penguin Drum. Penguin Drum came out in like 2012. And it's so like they were working on this 2010, like so like Twitter had just barely started and he was already recruiting people from Twitter. That's huge. Like we talk about that as a recent thing now, but like Ikuhara was doing that, and they were talking about how like they were talking about how like they thought it was a scam at first. That like I don't want to get scammed, I'm gonna be fooled. It was so fascinating. Yeah, I can't believe Ikuhara was recruiting staff on his own. Was recruiting people on Twitter, and crazy. Unreal. Yeah, I'm just kind of skimming through the video just so I'm not like saying anything incorrect or just kind of off the cuff or something. I might have said something kind of weird. So, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. Check out the video for yourself, obviously. I think it's really valuable. Please subscribe to this. I think this is really sick. This is really interesting and exciting. Looking forward to what comes out of it, if anything. We'll see how active. It only just started. She doesn't seem to be very keen on YouTube. And I like some of the things that she's talking about. Like towards the end, they get on this whole thing of like getting a new dog, which is really really cute, showing pictures of that. And but it's mostly an audio experience. But you're obviously very invested with watching the subtitles. So I mean, yeah, I think it was just really interesting and exciting to see. And I'm looking forward to more on that channel. Definitely check that out. I checked out Mudan again with the best way to stay productive. Again, it's really just like a stream archive thing. But I think this might already... I have to double check. But like, I noticed his sub count had already gotten like really good. At least, you know, it's doing well. I wanted to see his other channel, which he hasn't... Okay, yeah. So he's already at like half the size of his main channel. Which is crazy. But like, you know, kind of makes sense. I think he's uploading really regularly, and it's very different content every time, which is cool. I really like how active he's being. But this one really caught my eye with like best way to stay productive, because I just think it's like a really interesting, you know, I like his mentality too. I was like, well, what can I contribute to tier lists and stuff like that? But I really like that it was in the structure of a tier list, but he's talking about all these different apps that he has used. And has intimate knowledge of, and he's like, oh, I bought this way back in the day, and oh, they changed this, and this used to be good, and like his insight in that was really interesting, and I guess I should check out the full stream. It really made me want to, because it's like, I wanted to know more about that S tier one that he did, where he's like, oh, it's the OG, oh, it's great, everyone knows it. I'm like, what is that? I don't know it. And then he's like, oh yeah, Notepad's trash. Why you gotta have a separate Notepad for everything? And I was like, but I use Notepad. It's also because I'm a cheap bastard. But like, yeah, no, I've never used any of these organization. I use Google Calendar because it's on my phone, I guess. But just to like, as a calendar, I don't really like, I don't do anything else with it really. I just forget little dates and stuff. But like, there was so much insight to this, and I had no idea about any. I was like, man, I should probably like take up on this, huh? Wow, okay. And yeah, the insight was really interesting. And I just really wanted to know more, I guess. I don't know. I think, you know, this idea of his productivity and him talking about that would be something I would want to know more about too, and not just like in this fun. I really like that he really pushed this over the best for me, is that it was structured in such an engaging, fun way as a tier list, like a very consumable, everyone understands what a tier list is type of thing. But I like that he doesn't market it as a tier list necessarily, like at least at least in the title. But yeah, no, I just really enjoyed that, and I kind of want to check out the stream later if it's archived. But I do want to hear more about this as well. It wasn't so much the tier list that was engaging; it was just the skeletal structure. But like his insight into each of these and having used them a lot, and not just be like, I don't know what this is. Like, you know how rare that is for like a tier list, unless it's something. I think I suspect it's probably something he made himself, maybe, which is definitely the best way to do a tier list, because like you don't want to just take a random one and be like, I don't know what this is. You know what I mean? That happens a lot with tier lists, and you're just kind of making a snap judgment oftentimes. But this was this was awesome. Like, I really want to know more about it as a Notepad user myself. I'm curious. I want to know more, and teach me about productivity, Sensei. Lines in Motion with her first dedicated anime video of sorts. And she's doing great, by the way. I saw that Blue Period video blew up. Let's fucking go. What a great video. Oh my gosh. Doing great. Oh, I just realized, I'm looking at her channel now, she has done anime before. But I'm just like not used to that, because like my first video with her was the Witch Hat Altair video. And those are the ones and I guess it's an Uncharted video. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm sorry. But like, this is my first like anime video from her, and man, it's good. It's just really subtle transitions in places where it feels really dedicated, and like a really edited, focused video. I could tangibly feel that every clip was very lovingly picked, like chosen and stuff. It doesn't feel like anything is filler or waste, or building up a point or anything. It just felt like really clean, precise, and just the most engaging Place Further Than the Universe video I've ever watched. I feel like I may have seen like a couple of them, but they always really glaze over me. I like Gigic's video because it's a lot more personal, but it didn't really say anything about the show itself. It kind of gave me the impression, and people have obviously praised the shit out of this show, and I've been interested in seeing it since it's gotten so much positive buzz. But this was the first time that I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Okay, wow, awesome, that's great. Or just like, and yeah, this is just what I want from an anime video, in terms of just like, it's not about the plot synopsis or not even anything super complex like my themes, right? It's just a rumination type of thing. Of course, I was hesitant. I was like, I shouldn't say that, because it's like, it's too, I don't know, but it does feel very much like Beyond Ghibli, in a good way, because Beyond Ghibli is one of my favorite anime YouTubers period, really. But like, it does feel it, and I'm like, but that's a good thing. But it's just, yeah, I can see it. But like, it's because I know that there's a communication there, and Lines in Motion has collaborated on some of Beyond Ghibli's videos and stuff. So I was like, the comparison is just kind of unfair, because it's like, yeah, duh, kind of thing. But no, I love this video. I think, it's not trying to ape on his style at all. I think, if anything, I will say, like, you are at least doing a few more interesting tricks than what Joe does. I'm just, something I noticed with Joe with some, and I've told him this, where it's like, he does like the one interesting trick at the beginning to like really hook the audience, and the rest is very standard clips and everything. Good, still gorgeous, and then like the music choice is great. I think there was this video, I believe it was this one, and I don't know if it's from the soundtrack of the show itself or just an inspired choice, but there was Old Lang Syne, a rendition of Old Lang Syne in this video, and I'm like, that's so fucking fitting and sick. Like, the messages of this video, of course, I don't want to dwell on it too much, I guess, but like, yeah, just the chasing after something and investing in something, accepting the challenge and uh, not letting youth get away from you. I think the Old Lang Syne thing is such a great choice. Ah, oh, great. But at least you also had some of the other visual little transitions here, like some of the visual transitions, and it's also not overbearing, right? I do like that it's very sharp choices. It's not like flashy as aesthetic adjustment layer zoom shit, not like a certain, yeah. I can get kind of flashy, I'll admit. But yeah, no, it's so clean. It's so like, and of course the writing is that's what I meant. I think it wasn't really that much that the visuals were carrying it as much as it was that it's just really engaging prose, just really great writing in this and great observations and, God, yeah, you're really killing it. I'm looking forward to what you make over the summer. I won't be talking about it as much with me being not doing digest this summer, but anyone else who is doing digest, please make sure you're subscribed to Lines in Motion. She's in it. She's in this game. Let's fucking go. Yeah, definitely someone to look out for. Not watch out for. What we're talking about. Watch out. No. Uh, Although, yeah, no, I think it's getting there to where, I really like the zone that you're in, where the videos never feel like earth shattering. This is the big thing. I'm making the opus or something. I like that. I like that. For your channel personally, I don't feel like you need to go absolutely hard or crazy with some of your stuff. But yeah, no. I don't know where that was going, but like, if you do choose to go for like all right, this is gonna be the video, like the definitive or whatever. Although I feel like you really got close to that Witch Hat Alter video. And look, again, I was like, man, that's an incredible vid. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the things you do next. It's exciting. Looking forward to it. FemboyFilms had a cool vid, a reconstruction, restoration of this, I guess it's American short, football jamboree. So this is a really interesting story where, obviously so they've uploaded 2 videos, and this is the one with the sound in it. So like they had there was this short with the sound and everything, and then I guess they released it in 1935 they had it with the sound and everything, and then in 1948 they released it on like as a consumer, like as a home video type of thing. Like, I didn't think home video was a thing until VHS, but it technically was. They apparently, I guess, they sold them as like a home. Basically, like, people had projectors at home, and so they sold these shorts, and they were silent. They had to be silent film things, and so they had one of those, one of the many that were. So this is obviously something that was kind of almost lost to time type of thing, and one of the things that saved it was that all of these were distributed at like a mass consumer type of thing, and they were sold to people who had their own home projectors to play and have fun or whatever, and to kind of a home video cool thing. But it was silent, so they had like the cap, so that that one was like an 8-minute version that they uploaded. So they did a raw scan of that. It was like a 4K scan of that film, so gorgeous. And they had all the silent film kind of text and stuff. But then they found, I guess, on YouTube the audio from this initial screening and stuff. And so they took their 1948 restoration that was like the 8-minute thing, and they stitched it together with the sound and reconstructing the sound, and made it so that it was synced through the whole thing, and so it was effectively that kind of restoration. If that's wrong in any way, they can correct me. I'm just taking that from their description. I'm not reading it off right now or anything, but from what I can recall. And the short's fun and kind of cute. It's a football game against like cats and mice, and the mice are super dirty, and the cats are just the dominant thing, and they have to be crafty to beat them and stuff. And things like that. And it was fun. As someone who's watching Ice Shield 21, who's like a football anime, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, it was just kind of funny and weird. But the story behind it's fantastic, and I just wanted to highlight that. Yeah, please subscribe to them and follow their stuff. It's really interesting, different, weird, cool stuff. They uploaded. I don't know if I talked. I don't think I talked about it, but they uploaded like a commercial for Toei's work that they were doing over the summer of this particular, like the 80s or something. They had 4 shows running at the same time, and so it was like a PV for 4 different from the same studio. Like, here's what Toei's working on over the summer, and they have like the 4 shows that they were airing at the time, or like the the various things, and really cool stuff. And the gorgeous 4K restoration of that. So like some of those anime have never looked that good in that just in that PV at least. But yeah, no, that was really interesting too. But this is cool too. Yeah, awesome. I know this is not a, like 100% anime, and it's like I technically don't need to talk about. I gave his 60 FPS video of best of the week when it came out. But Noodle put out this Q&A, not really a Q&A really. It's reviewing your takes on animation as FPS follow up, and he's just responding to comments, and it's really one of the better or best responding to comments types of videos I've ever seen, because like he's really not just like dunking on people or clowning on them, but like really adding to things. And also just like I love that he started it with talking about how important James Baxter is, and he's like, commented on my video. like that was really cool. Cool moment. And his humor is still here, and his creativity and the animation was still here. Like it's all like paper cutout stuff, and it's really interesting style. And yeah, it's just more of that. It's just 20 more minutes of that goodness. Like that video is one of the best videos I've seen this year so far, and this was just like 20-minute bonus to that video, like that amazing video type of thing. So yeah, like I loved this a lot, and I don't have too much else to say about it, but it made me realize that like, oh fuck, I really am gonna get fucking shit kicked in with my this video I'm working on. I hate to keep bringing it up. Obviously, it's on my mind, so that's why that is what it is. But it's just, I really hope I'm able to have the kind of confidence and poise and nerves of steel that Noodle's showing here with this, how many comments are getting like this, and the stomach, basically the stomach to have get these kinds of responses. I know, it's a very thorny. Even bringing up one of the arguments in that I make in the video, not like, and I didn't really articulate it the same way or have the context that the video does, obviously, but even just giving a point from my video, I already got like a comment on Digest, and that guy's a frequent comment. I'm a frequent commenter, and I appreciate his response and stuff. But that's sort of it was like I'm already getting disagreements type of thing. I was like, oh boy, not like you can't disagree, or just I'm not gonna take well to criticism or anything, but it is just like, it's I don't know. I just don't look forward to it, I guess. I don't know. It's the kind of video where I'm not looking forward to comments, and I've thought about turning them off for that video, which wouldn't be a good look. Which, that's a whole YouTube stigma thing. But man, it would be a nice thing on my psyche. It would be so nice. It's just gonna suck because it's like, I like reading comments a lot, but that's just, I'm really intentionally throwing myself to the wolves with that one. But it's something I care about. I'm hoping that the way I talk about it, and the things that like other people like I've consulted with, that it doesn't seem like I'm making any big mistakes or anything really yikesy about it. It doesn't seem, at least. So hopefully it works out okay. But again, sorry, it's about me again. But this was a really good inspiration for me to like, of comments ain't shit kind of thing. Type of thing. I don't know. I really appreciated it. gave me hope, gave me strength, gave me courage. Great Hazel video. I hope you're subscribed to her because she's very good. A normal manga about a boy and his mom. So yeah, it's an incest manga, but it's by the creator of Mysterious Girlfriend X. And I like the chunk of the video where she goes in and dives into his previous manga work. It's kind of like to see if there's some hidden thing, because the weird thing is the mom is a manga artist, and she seems to be the author of Mysterious Girlfriend X in this manga. So it's very clearly the mangaka projecting onto this character. And so, she went back and skimmed through this other stuff and didn't find the same answers that I think we were expecting or something like that, but got a better understanding of his work overall, which I really thought was, that additive piece and the really interesting stuff really elevated it, instead of like, look at this cool manga, which is I feel like a lot of anime and manga YouTubers are having this sort of thing. Like, this felt a lot like going into this video, I was like, oh, it's kind of like Super Patch Wolf's occasional manga video about like this particular manga or something. Except I don't think he ever really talks about that particular author and their context and the history and stuff. Not like you have to, but it does add a lot. And it's just really interesting. But I think in general, pushes in this was really great was just Hazel's approach to it, and just how it's very problematic and stuff, and it doesn't feel judgmental at all. She really contextualizes who she is, and it's like why she's not desensitized to it, but she's morbidly fascinated by it. So her handling of these topics and it just was so refreshing and like engaging and fun. It's a humor throughout the whole video, really charismatic, and not deprecating or like, and I like her thing, and she said this in her Elfen Lied video too, where it's like, this is not a commentary on whether this work is good or not. That is not the value. That is not what we're talking about. We're just talking about it in a content additive way, and like what is interesting and what's worthy of being discussed and talked about here. And yeah, and I think she handled it really, really well. Granted, it's good that the manga doesn't seem to actually have anything actually happen. Like, he doesn't actually hook up with the mom, or doesn't actually blah blah blah, and it resolves in a certain way. And it handles it in a way that's interesting. So I mean, that's good. And that certainly helps with the kind of direction this video goes. But overall, I thought it was really interesting and really fun and a breeze to watch. Not a chore, like really fun. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And man, this will be the last video I talk about this week and for this season of Digest. And it's also the video that like I do think you really should watch. That with Digest, it's just like, oh, videos I thought were fun and like, cool, you should maybe check them out or something. I'm like, no, you really should check this. Like, a lot of my friends friends I'm with Twitter or with the anime YouTube, right? We have this thing about watching anime a lot. Like that's part of the culture I'm in and stuff. And so this is really, really valuable. And it's just truth bomb after truth bomb after truth bomb. I should just say what it is. BobSamurai again. It's like, I keep giving him best of the week and he's just on fucking fire, dude. I can't stop talking about it. It's so good. But this was this was really originally going to be a 2-part video, but he combined the two. I thought the first part was especially strong. Second part was interesting, and I enjoyed it, and it's certainly unconventional and stuff. But it was both. It was like personal. It was really obviously authentic, but it was just more like really. You're not crazy when you have burnout. This is what I think leads to it and what I've experienced. Here's some things that I've struggled with. It felt very personable in that way. And, again, authentic. Really, again, it's just straight truth bombs. How to end anime burnout and find the best anime for you. If I didn't say the title already. Not like I release this as a podcast anymore. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm so bad at. I pay for, I'm sorry I haven't did a good job with that, with releasing that consistently. But man, though, this was like, you really should check this out. I just really liked how he handled this, talked about it. There's a lot of different observations and talking about why people are adverse to older anime. The thing about seasonal anime not finding a place to belong in this community, and he's like, I get part of it's on me, and this other thing, and observations, like little observations here and there that I've seen Beatrice talk about as well, with like we've accepted mediocrity, of how like a lot of them kind of feel like the same, but he's like, well, maybe that's just me. It was so masterful. It really feels like, I knew that this was the kind of thing with Bob where like he's been around so long, he really is kind of a sage at this point. He feels like this very wise guy, really not wise guy, but he's so poised and mature than a lot of people animate, because all of us are kind of like young kids or whatever, but he's past that, and he's I guess you could say it that way, he's showing his age, but it's more he's showing his maturity and really just like in his experience and stuff, and I just love seeing it. You love to see it, kind of thing. It really is a lot of truth bomb stuff and valuable and also, now that I'm thinking about it just now, it reminds me of some of his other rumination videos that he used to make during the Suit era as well, on top of the reviews and stuff like that. And also kind of bringing in his experience with talking more personally when he's doing those car vlogs, where he's talking very, very personally and about his experience and his observations, bringing that sort of knowledge. But it felt more, but this was like kind of going back to the more scripted stuff, but incorporating that off-script voice that feels very mature and everything. I think I've talked about it elsewhere. This just felt like a new high for me for his content. This was just like unbelievably good. Like I enraptured by it, honestly. Yeah, fantastic job. I loved it. Yeah, please actually watch that video and let me know what you think. And not bullshitting you. Like, I actually want more people to watch that video, and like, this was really great, honestly. Anyway, I've hyped it up enough. Yeah. Phew. And yeah, that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest for season 2. Thank you very much for watching. In general, for all this time. This will be heading in on 2 years of me doing this every week, pretty much every week. There's a couple blanks here and there, but hey, any serial like that, I can't say I've ever missed a week, but that's okay. It was worth it that first year. It was because of the Dazaki series, and I'm very proud of that video. So I'm okay with taking off Digest for that and sacrificing being able to say that. But I wasn't intending if this was like, this is gonna be every week, I have to make it every week. I'm trying not to, because that would make it like not as fun for me. Again, there will people be making digests. There will be a playlist that'll probably be updating pretty frequently. I don't know how frequently. We'll see how it goes. In the description here of this video, and probably the next video you see on this channel will be the next digest or something else. I don't know. I would say that I said this at my 1-year anniversary that I only want to stop digest at like a year point. So if it's going to not happen anymore, it would happen at a point like this. So I'm making the dedication now that I do still really like making digest, and will most likely continue making it if I'm able to. So yeah, the confirmation on that. Again, it's partly because it's like the reaction's been always good. It's not like it's getting super like it got to a certain point, it's kind of leveled off, of course. But I think the results have been what I've wanted. Being able to get in contact with some of these creators, and grow and learn and stuff and be inspired, and to think critically of this stuff that we do. All the things that I thought would be potential benefits for Digest have become benefits. So I'm hoping that passes off to you guys. Just the fact that people want to continue it after in its stead is really humbling, and it's hard for me to it's hard for me to accept that, because it's, I don't know, I've had points in my life where I've been very humbled, like a little too much, and it's hard for me to accept success or praise in a way, because I've always felt like, I don't, when I get to that point, it gets my ego in such a way that, like, I'll be disappointed inevitably. So just to avoid disappointment and a deflating of my ego, I never let it get inflated in the first place. But I think the side effect of that makes it like, I always feel not as great. I've talked about this in my 10K video or whatever, but like, anyway, just rambling at this point. Thank you very much for watching AniTube Digest. Thank you to my patrons who have been supporting AniTube Digest and what I do, including Austin, Boo, Kuiper, My Anime Pod, Najbeb, Nicholas, Saxon, Unique Namosaurus, Victor, and Yellow Cheese. You guys are great. You guys have a great summer. Yo, peace.